Hello everyone, welcome to our SCADA related webinar. I think we will wait just about 30 more seconds for the rest of attendees to join us. We have a very special guest, Mariusz Stałowski from a company called Kliko, who is our distributor in Poland. I'm really happy to have him here. Oh, there he goes. Hi Mariusz.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
And yeah, so just a couple of more seconds. We'll wait for the rest of attendees to join us. We will be focusing on how Flowmon can help in monitoring SCADA environments from both operational but mainly security perspective. What I want to stress, and I think I'll mention it a couple more times during the call, is that Flowmon has many deployments in SCADA environment already now, even before we released a special type of visibility and deeper visibility into SCADA protocols. I'll mention that during the call as well, but this isn't something new. This is something that we do for many years, and we're just going much deeper than we did before to help us help our customers. I think we're ready to start. What do you think, Mariusz?
Yes, yes. Go on, please.
Good. Right. So ask any questions you want throughout the call in the questions panel. We will have some space at the end of the webinar to answer them all. I think that will take 20-25 minutes for the entire presentation, so there'll be plenty of time. Right. SCADA is unsecure. That's for sure. There are multiple reasons, and these are the main ones. Endpoints are non-secure, or just some of them are, and I'll show you how. There is definitely absence of security design and process. Why? Because SCADA environments have been built years ago when security wasn't such a problem as it is today. However, we continue to do things the same way for decades in SCADA, and it takes quite a long time to get the mindset of people who run these environments to start designing SCADA in a secure way from the beginning. We can definitely see lack of visibility. Obviously, there are some specialized monitoring tools that can show you traffic in SCADA protocols. These are often quite expensive. Not everyone has them, and they specialize in the technological part of the network, where attacks don't really target this part of the network, and I'll also explain that later a bit. Yeah. And what we can see is patching and obsolete operating systems and obsolete software is a big issue. What is inside of SCADA actually? Well, there are some specialized devices. They communicate on IP protocols in. So that's easy for us to tap in there and monitor it. However, these devices are specialized, built for their specific purpose. We can see some of them running JEOS operating system, where one of the biggest problems and one of the most problematic parts, and the part where attacks actually focus on, is using no passwords or just the default ones. So it's really easy to get through to them. And we can also see computers, sort of industrial computers, workstations for engineers, and other appliances that are actually obsolete, are not being patched. And you know that very often you'll find devices running on Windows 95, 98 without any proper patching in place. So endpoint security in SCADA environments cannot be ensured. And we can see the trend that SCADA environments are becoming just as vulnerable to external threats as regular corporate networks. And obviously, they're also exposed to threats that have been long forgotten and not being used and talked about for years and years. If we look at attack methods, we can split them into two main portions. One is attacking infrastructure devices, where we talk mainly about unpatched appliances and problems. And very often it starts with malware. You've obviously heard about WannaCry, and one of the ways how attackers can actually get in and infect infrastructure devices is during maintenance, when an engineer comes to the network with infected station, or by someone physically accessing the site and bringing the malware on media. And then we can also see attacks that focus on IoT devices, smart meters, smart sensors, so endpoint devices in general. And examples are botnets like Mirai. And these devices are then used to perform a variety of attacks, DDoS attacks, and obviously cause harm on critical infrastructures that SCADA and industrial control systems are. The course of events and how malware works is first penetrate, that means infect. With phishing, someone brings the malware on a flash drive with infected station, because people actually come in and interact in SCADA networks, and they're not completely closed, and they're more and more often connected to the enterprise part of the network or to the corporate part of the network. Then we can see that attacks move around the network. They infect other station, collect information, and then at the end, when they're done, when they get privileges, accesses to wherever they want, they start the attack itself. They change configuration, they gain access, they steal data. I have a couple of examples of tools that attackers may not use. You may have heard about these. THC Hydra password cracking tool available online. SCADA Strangelove project that has identified loads of zero-day vulnerabilities in SCADA systems that are caused due to low patching. Pretty shiny, sparkly. There are links here. You can check these out. Very interesting reading, and you will find out how easy it is to get your ammunition to be able to attack on critical infrastructures. And obviously there's Shodan, which is a search engine where you can see industrial control devices, IoT devices that are vulnerable, and you can start targeting those specific devices in those specific networks of different power plants and different utilities companies. So this was sort of a short executive summary, and I believe we're going over to you, Mariusz. My last slide just shows the number of attacks and vulnerabilities that are found in SCADA environments, and the trend is obvious. So that was as an intro. Mariusz, over to you. And I believe that you are going to talk a bit more technical and explain the problems in more detail.
Thank you. What I would like to say is that SCADA security is, from the technology point of view, very familiar for most of the people that take care about cybersecurity. Recently, in last, I think, 12 months, Clico team, the team that I had the pleasure to manage, was able to conduct 3 big-scale security audits in 2 energy companies and 1 water supply company, all critical infrastructure. And as IT, let's say, specialists, we were very surprised that the security audit in this environment was very similar to any other auditing that we conducted in IT environment. The only difference was the priority, because the security priority in industrial networks, in operational technology, the priority is services continuity. It is not data confidentiality. So based on this security audits and also the projects that we conducted after the audits to protect the environment from cyber crime, I will share with you some good practices, how to cope with the SCADA, how to cope with industrial control systems in the scope of cybersecurity. We know that NIST directive is the new European Union cybersecurity law. And what is interesting in this directive is that it covers critical systems. It requires, and it is the law obligation for all the countries that are members of European Union to protect critical systems, to protect SCADA, to protect industrial networks, because all operators of essential services, including critical infrastructure, are covered by this very restrictive law. And this law, in the scope of cybersecurity, takes care very rigorously on risk management, on the assets protection based on identified risks, and also implements extremely rigorous requirements for incident detection and reporting. For example, in the law adopted in Poland as the NIST directive requirements, we have 24 hours only for reporting the serious incidents in critical infrastructure, in SCADA, in industrial networks. Any serious incident that is related to essential services in 24 hours, in any time. It could be a weekend, it could be holidays. The report should be prepared only in 24 hours. The report with all the details, what happened, how the incident was detected, what was the impact, the business impact of the incident, what countermeasures were used to take care about the incident, how we were able to conduct contamination, containment, how the threat source was eradicated. So a lot of details only in 24 hours should be gathered from dedicated tools and put into the report and forwarded to the national authority to appropriate CIRT. So it is the law obligation, protection and incident detection and incident response in critical infrastructure is the law obligation. How we can provide appropriate implementation of this law? We need dedicated tools. What kind of tools are required? First, look what is operational technology. Because if we are talking about SCADA, SCADA is one of the examples of industrial control systems. And first, when IT specialists, IT security specialists particularly, look at the OT environment, industrial network, human-machine interface, SCADA, DCS, MES, it looks like the magic world, something that we've never touched. But when we look inside, we'll see that the human-machine interface is just the software used for the management, very simple software. That SCADA is the computer connected to the network that works on Windows or other operating system that we know very well, that it is connected to the network, that MES and APC are also the servers with some software connected to normal networks, mostly located in enterprise network that is connected to industrial network. So we see that it is the specialized IT technology, that in this environment, we have general purpose operating systems like Windows, Linux. We have remote access, we have secure shell, normal secure shell. We have web applications, we have Apache, we have sometimes Microsoft Web Service, Internet Information Server. We have databases like Oracle. And when we scan this environment, we'll see exactly the same threats, the same vulnerabilities. Malware can attack industrial network. It could be misuse of privileges. We can expect SQL injection, cross-site scripting, any web-based attacks. We can attack the databases, the operating systems with exploits. And what is interesting, as was mentioned before by Artur, in industrial networks, generally, there is no security. In IT, we consider Telnet as very dangerous protocol. We should not use Telnet. But look at Modbus. In Modbus, the most popular industrial network protocol, there is no identification of the user. There is no password. You just connect to Modbus devices and start managing without even identification of the user. So absolutely there is no security inside. So from the cyber security point of view, we should focus on the same threats, the same risks, but sometimes the scale is different. Very often when I talk with people accountable for SCADA security, for industrial control network security, they say that IT specialists should not take care about this because they do not know OT technology. So I always ask for this question with another question. Do you think that people responsible for cybersecurity in the bank are bank experts? Do you think that in an insurance company, people responsible for cybersecurity are experts in insurance? So the same is in OT. If we look at exploits, SQL injection, malware attacks, the responsibility for this kind of job should be also in hands of cybersecurity experts. OT is connected to IT. That is true, and because of maintenance reasons, the VPN access is provided. Look at Ukrainian incidents. The attack was initiated with phishing, then the black energy, malware infection, then VPN access to OT, and using human-machine interface, the energy was switched off. So IT is connected to OT, IT is connected to internet, so also internet has indirect access to OT, sometimes direct access if there is some misconfiguration. When we talk about security, we should think about a different kind of critical systems, mission critical systems, for example, SCADA. When there is the incident in this kind of system, we could expect the lack of electricity, for example, the ecological disaster, the damage of equipment, very expensive equipment, the disruption of production of entire factory or power station. So really catastrophic consequences. When we look at life critical systems, we could expect the threat for health and life of people. When we look at business critical systems, we could expect huge economical losses. So all these kind of critical systems covered by the cybersecurity law, I mean the NIST directive, requires appropriate protection. And how we can address these maybe not new requirements, but the requirements that at the moment are the law obligation. First of all, we should not invent the wheel. We should use the recognized standards. One of the most recognized standards for industrial control systems was issued in 2013 by International Society of Automation, recognized company like in web applications, OWASP. It's a very similar international company. This standard provides the recommendations for security of industrial control systems. And believe me, if you read this standard, you will not find anything new. Everything is well known from IT cybersecurity. So first of all, implement segmentation, create dedicated zone, isolate industrial network, isolate critical systems for enterprise, implement access control, privilege user control, malware protection, intrusion protection, implement all the safeguards required by the risk analysis. So first conduct risk management, and based on the risk management analysis, design appropriate safeguards and implement these safeguards. This standard is of course available, and I really suggest using this standard. So first it is the asset protection, then incident detection. Incident detection in all the elements of the network where the cyber criminal activity could be conducted. And the main recommendation is monitor entire path, not only focus on industrial network, monitor entire path to be able as early as possible, detect the incident and stop the incident. Do not allow cyber criminals to attack, to touch the critical systems. It's called proactive protection. And incident detection in entire path, it is the must. And detection is the first phase. Then there is the management, investigation, analysis, containment, eradication. So everything, all the activities that we call incident response. So the incidents detected, for example, by Flowmon, should be sent in real time to Security Operations Center or CIRT, Computer Security Incident Response Team, the unit responsible for the incident management, because detection is only the first phase. It's a very useful document issued by American NIST. It's called Framework for Improving Critical Infrastructure Cybersecurity. We could also treat it as a standard. It's available for everybody. It's fantastic, very understandable recommendation how to protect critical infrastructure, how to protect SCADA. NIST recommends 5 phases of the, let's say, cybersecurity cycle. First, conduct risk analysis, identify risks, then protect the assets. And NIST emphasizes the role of detection. Detection in this case does not mean detection of attacks. It is detection of incidents. Incident means that the safeguards were bypassed, that cyber criminals were able to that the safeguards were just broken, that cyber criminals were able to bypass our firewalls, our intrusion prevention systems, our anti-malware. So for detection phase, we should use dedicated tools, because the safeguards do not tell us that I was broken. If anti-malware is able to detect malware, there is no incident. The incident happens when anti-malware was not able to detect malware. If intrusion prevention system detects and blocks the attack, the exploit, for example, there is no incident. The incident happens when IPS was bypassed. And we need dedicated tools like Flowmon, using the behavioral analysis to tell us that this system, for example, SCADA station, was broken. The safeguards were broken, that somebody is controlling this station, and we should be informed early enough to respond on time. As you see here, the phase number 4 is response to the incident, containment, eradication, and phase number 5, recovery. If the breach effect is some damage in industrial networks, we should be prepared to quickly recover the systems that were damaged. Let's look at the good practices. There are 5 fundamental principles for incident management in industrial networks. First, monitor entire attack path. Do not focus only on the, let's say, SCADA. It's not enough. If, for example, in Ukraine, you remember the Ukrainian case, it was the lack of energy in 3 companies responsible for energy distribution in December 2015. In the same time, energy was switched off. If we, in this environment, if we only monitor SCADA, industrial network, the monitoring system would tell us, oh, your energy is off, but I see that my energy is off. So the early detection is something very required. The attack, the cyber criminals activities should be detected in enterprise network, and cyber criminals should be stopped. So entire path should be monitored. Detection of internal threats hidden from network safeguards, it is also the requirement. We could expect advanced persistent threat. We could expect professionals. So we need really dedicated tools for incident detection. that monitor all the elements, not only, let's say, the core, but also the access switches, also industrial switches. Integration with Security Operations Center. It is something very important because detection is the first phase. Then there is the investigation, containment, and many other activities that are part of the incident response. Network visibility, troubleshooting. Industrial network is also vulnerable for some problems with overload of the network, broken VLANs, broken links, some problems with the network configuration. So we should be prepared also for common problems in the network. And Flowmon can detect the incident, but also help in network visibility and troubleshooting. And very important, we could imagine the solution, but the solution for the incident detection and management in SCADA, in industrial networks, first, should be simple in deployment and also cost effective. Every company looks for cost effectiveness. If the solution is too expensive in implementation, in maintenance, the companies simply are not be able to afford for this solution. And Flowmon, I think, is one of the simplest solution in deployment and very cost effective. Look at the details. Why we should monitor entire path from internet, from VPN, enterprise network, wide area network, and OT, the deepest element of, let's say, PLC and other elements connected to industrial switches. As I said, all recognized or all the incidents that happened in the past, starting, let's say, from StackDebt, all of them were initiated in enterprise network. So we should be prepared that from internet, from enterprise network, somebody start recognizing industrial network, and we should monitor entire path to be able, as early as possible, detect the incident, for example, in enterprise network or DMZ network, and block it to avoid serious damage in industrial network. Of course, industrial network also should be monitored, but we should monitor entire infrastructure. It is the only way to avoid serious damage. We should expect advanced persistent threat. The activities conducted by, for example, foreign services or sponsored by foreign countries. And when we look at mentioned by me Ukrainian cases, definitely it was very professionally conducted attack. So the malware, the current malware, is very smart. It's smart enough that you are not able to see malware using firewalls, even next generation firewalls. You are not able to find malware using, for example, intrusion prevention system with some signatures. First of all, malware recognize the potential victims only in the directly connected network. So when you monitor the core of the network, the edge with internet, it's extremely difficult to find malware. Malware activity is visible only on the access switch. So how we can detect the malware if the malware is so smart? We just need to monitor everything. First of all, we should monitor the access switches, the industrial switches, the switches where the, for example, human-machine interface is connected, the SCADA is connected. So we should monitor entire infrastructure and be able to detect malware even in this deepest element of the industrial network. And Flowmon can do it. And you can do it in a very simple and effective way. Based on the network behavior analysis, you can detect, for example, new IP addresses, new protocols. What means new protocol in SCADA network? If the changes in industrial network are done once per 5 years, there is new protocol. Anomaly in the network, port scanning in the industrial network, or the network scanning, definitely we have insider threat. The computer used for management of industrial network is in the hands of cyber criminals. DNS tunneling, invisible in this kind of environment. And many other activities like access to command and control. All these activities could be detected with very simple deployment. There is no, let's say, big cost, a lot of devices, a lot of infrastructure. It is a simple solution. It is very complicated, but inside there is, let's say, mathematical analysis. There is the brain of this solution that is complicated. But for the user of Flowmon, for deployment, it's very simple. Very important is the management. As I said, only the detection is the beginning. So that is the tool. The tool is able to detect that something is wrong with the SCADA workstation, and what else? We need the dedicated tools for management, and Flowmon can integrate, I think, with all available CM solutions, with all available SOAR solutions. It's called security automation, security orchestration, automation, and response. And it's done with the, for example, syslog, alert sending. And what you see here, it is the Security Operations Center platform that's called SecureVisio. It's implemented in some energy companies and some SOCs in Poland at the moment. Also in two big energy companies. SecureVisio is integrated with Flowmon, and what you can see here, it is the workflow. In this workflow, you can see Flowmon alerts. When you look at the right part of the workflow, you will see the reaction time, execution time, and service time. So we will see how the incidents are managed, what is the response time for incident, and so on. You can click at details of the incident, and in the details, you will see playbook. Let's click. Oh, the playbook. It is ready to use response actions. So somebody, the producer, SecureVisio, prepared for you the actions that are appropriate for particular incident categories. So you can classify the incident, you can classify it of course, as a false positive. You can look in the reputation database, what we know about the IP addresses. If there is the hash of the malware, we can send automatically this hash to the, for example, sandbox, and do a lot of activities that are predefined. Then you can look at the details, and you can see here that Flowmon detected port scanning. If the port scanning is detected in SCADA network, in industrial network, this means that something is wrong from the security point of view. We should immediately respond. And also, the Security Operations Center platform provides you the information about the business impact. So immediately, the operator who managed the incidents see that it is the SCADA workstation, and that the potential business damage of this incident is, for example, loss of reputation or disruption of important processes of the organization. So the operator can focus on the most important incidents and immediately understand what is the problem for the organization. Not only what is the technical problem, but what is the business damage. So it is the Security Operations Center platform that helps the operators to finish the management of the incident. Flowmon detects the incident, and the Security Operations Center that is fully integrated with Flowmon provides all the tools like workflow, playbook to go straight to the resolution of the problem, to quickly understand what we should do, what is the impact, and what the response is, the appropriate response for this particular incident. Network visibility and troubleshooting. We should remember the highest priority of industrial environment. And the highest priority is the services availability. The problems with the network, with VLANs, problems with the network devices configuration, problems with the network overload. They all can cause the business damage, can disrupt the industrial processes. Flowmon provides visibility in the network, and we can detect a lot of problems and immediately respond to them because in details we know what happened. And the last but not least principle is simplicity and cost effectiveness. Flowmon, it is the complicated solution inside that provides, as I said, very advanced analytical elements, mathematical analysis, behavioral analysis. And from the deployment point of view, you can use the industrial switches that are Ethernet switches. If only the switch can send flows, the flows could be sent to Flowmon collector, and based on this, Flowmon is able to detect incidents. If, for example, there is very old industrial switch, you can connect the Flowmon probe to the span port of the switch, or use the network tab. And in this very simple deployment, you can manage the incidents of IT, as I said, and also the OT environment. And what is also very important in Flowmon, there is no requirement to copy all the traffic from the industrial network to some central element, to some central location. In competitive solutions, very often the traffic of industrial networks that are often distributed geographically, all the traffic should be copied and transferred to some central location for analysis. In Flowmon, there is no such requirement. The deployment is very simple and very cost effective. That's all from my side. So Artur, please go on. I do not hear you, Artur.
Oh, thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much for your explanation. I think it was clear, understandable, and Kliko and Mariusz are here for you to help you out consulting these technologies and deployments. They are experts, I have to say, and thank you very much, Mariusz. So I think 2-3 last slides are just updates on the current state. Everything that you've seen until now is supported by Flowmon ever since. But now with Flowmon version 10 that has been released as stable yesterday, we add support into a native visibility on application layer into specific IoT and SCADA protocols, such as COAP or IEC 104. How does it work? Just as explained by Mariusz, in this scenario, our probe is tapped into a network element via mirror port. When there is a communication between two nodes, we collect this information. We export in our IPFix record, obviously, the regular L3, L4 information, port protocols, ports, etc. And we also enrich it with application layer or L7 layer, if you wish, information, such as you can see here for APCI type and more. And this can be used for monitoring, reporting, capacity planning, detection, analytical purposes altogether. We've collected our data, and as for the detection, how are we different from other tools? And I'm actually now answering one of the questions that we received from you. Flowmon is different because we consider every single communication as potentially dangerous. We do not look at large spikes of traffic that would indicate a problem. We look at every single small communication so that even low and slow attacks can be detected. So if someone will be offering you network behavior analysis, make sure it is not mathematical, statistical only methods, but real logic and real behavior analysis. And to maybe wrap up what Mariusz said, and answer actually another question that we had about how we compete with firewalls that offer monitoring of SCADA environments. This is an example of entire environment of utility or manufacturing company. You can see internet at the top. You can see regular corporate network, and through the DMZ to the OT parts and human machines, operation stations, PLC, down to the sensors. Flowmon focuses on monitoring the most vulnerable parts of the OT, most vulnerable parts of the SCADA or technological network, which is the HMI and SCADA appliances. That's a place where traditional firewalls do not go, do not see into, and those are very important to monitor, to be able to detect attacks. And actually, we have made this video where we've demonstrated and simulated attack on SCADA, where an engineer, represented by our CTO Pavel Minařík on this video, actually came into SCADA system as an engineer to perform maintenance. I'm going back one slide. He actually connected into the HMI part of the network, where he did the maintenance and infected with his station the network and shut it down. I very much recommend you to watch the video. You can find it on our YouTube channel or on our website, and it will give you the idea how easy it might be to attack SCADA systems. Example, this is from one of our customers. Over 2/3 of the entire traffic in their network was actually generated by infected devices. So without the visibility, you're not even able to see these attacks unless something happens with your critical infrastructure, which makes a huge impact. Examples of a couple of customers who use Flowmon, NAFTA, Slovakian company that trades and works with oil, and they operate pipelines, Volkswagen, Kia, and others. And this is all. We had the most important questions we had were on the firewall. We also had a question on whether this webinar will be recorded. Yes, it will be, and we will send you recording after the webinar. I don't want to promise today, but as soon as we finalize the video, and we'll send it through. So that's all from my end. Lessons learned: don't only use prevention. You need to incorporate detection, early response. You need to be able to monitor entire network, not only the OT part. And you need to be able to incorporate your detection system into incident handling and response to be able to protect critical infrastructures. So thank you very much for your attention. Have a great day. Thank you very much, Mariusz, again for attending. And hope to see you soon in one of our webinars. Thank you.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.